Okay, today we're going to get rid of this giant old Hollywood light strip and replace it with something a little bit more elegant. So hang in there with me. What we're doing today is showing you how to change this. So we're going to take the one, where the one light fixture was, there's not even an electrical box here. There's just wires hanging out on the wall, okay? And then we're going to add in two electrical boxes, one on each side, on top of each sink. So we have one light fixture on the right, one light fixture on the left, directly over the sink. It's going to give better light, look better, really update for this bathroom. And rather than in the HGTV fashion where you see a bunch of highlights and then a smile at the end and tell you how awesome and cute it looks, I'm going to actually show you how to do the electrical work yourself so you can do this project in your own bathroom. Okay, so let's get to it. So here's the sink on the left, and right here, line on the wall, may or may not be hard to see in the frame. That's going to be the top of the mirror, and then this mirror, this line right here is going to be the bottom of the electrical box for the light fixture. Okay, so I've already marked that out to save a little bit of time. I just lined them up, figured out how we wanted them, height-wise, in correspondence to the countertop. So, thing first is I'm going to mark where the electrical box is going to go on the sheetrock. Okay, we're going to mark that out. And I have a plumb bob. Okay, in my very old videos, I'll show you how to use it. It's very simple. It's just a weight on a string, basically. Okay, and that just gives you a once it stops wiggling, it gives you a perfectly plumb line. Okay, we're going to stretch this out so that I can put the plumb directly over the faucet. So I know that this electrical box is going to be centered with the sink. Okay, now we have to split the electrical. Okay, we have the one electrical in the middle and they need to come down on both sides. So how do we do that? Now, of course, that depends on your home. Some people are like, well, you need to go in the attic and pull that back up, set a junction box up in the attic, and run different wires back down. Well, there's a couple of problems with that. One, what if there's not an attic above that room, like if this was a downstairs room? Now this isn't a downstairs room, this is actually an upstairs room, so there is an attic up there, okay? But, two, sometimes attics are very hard to access in different rooms. Sometimes there's a lot of insulation. And there's a third thing, sometimes I just don't feel like going in the attic and finding the insulation, because there actually is a lot of insulation in here, so I guess that's kind of part of the same too. So since, this applies for a downstairs room or anything else like that, we're going to open up the wall, split the electrical in the wall right here, rather than digging through the attic and the insulation. Also a junction box in the wall, and it'll be safe. Now, of course, different codes apply to different regions of the country where you live in, so it never hurts to check the code where you're at. Okay, but I'm going to show you a safe way to set the electrical that would be up to code in most regions. Okay. And we're going to start at a bottom point here and draw a straight line, because that's where we're going to cut the sheetrock. And since I know there's a seam right here, I don't want to cut just below it and have a little chunk of one board. I'm going to put it right in, set my level on it. Now you can also just measure off the countertop, to make it pretty darn level, because your countertop should be pretty darn level. Okay. Okay, so there's going to be my bottom line where I'm cutting. Now let's go up here and set a top line. Some of the things you're going to need here very soon to work with are a couple of old work boxes, and then we're going to use one new work box. And some people are going to be like, what do you mean old and new? I mean, does that mean you have an old junky one that's been sitting around or something like that? No, okay. The new work boxes are for new construction. That means when your walls are open, they're not finished, to set the nail to the studs. That's what we're going to use for the junction box. Okay, you could use a metal one. I'm just going to use a plastic one because we can nail it right to the stud. These ones here are an old work box, or more of a complete explanation would be like a remodel box. Okay, they got these little tabs here so that we can cut a hole in the drywall, set the box, and then it'll tighten into the sheetrock itself. Okay. And that's what we're going to do, is we're not going to be opening up that part where these are going. Okay. Okay guys, Always remember safety first. Got some earplugs in because this can get kind of loud. I'm going to have my shop vac running to collect the dust as I go. It's always a good thing to do. I've got a good video on the shop vac and the filters in the bag, stuff like that. I'll pop it up at the top right. Okay, now I'm going to try to carefully remove that sheetrock because I want to be able to reuse it, okay? Now if it doesn't happen, we can always cut a new piece, but that's what our goal is here. Alright, now guys, take a look here. Now this isn't uncommon. This was extra wire here. This would be nice because I'm able to take it all the way. Actually, I won't even need a junction box. Normally you would need to set a junction box here and run the first wire into it, and then set a couple of clamps, okay? If I already set the junction box, I would figure normally the wire probably stopped right about here, okay? I set the junction box inside the wall, have the wires come in, and set a clamp on the inside of the box so the wires cannot be pulled out, okay? That's very important that you don't want the wires to be pulled out, especially when the junction box is inside of a wall where it's not in a normal access place. This is rare to find this much extra wire, which actually, like I said, makes it nice because I'm going to run this non-stop to the first box, and then from that box non-stop to the second box. Okay, now before we go any further, and actually this should have done before we got to this point, was make sure the electricity is off to those wires. Now I already know that because the switch is off, I already tested it, okay? So before you get to this point on your project, make sure you've already tested your electrical. Alright, now this is a voltage detector, okay? It detects voltage. You don't even have to make a physical contact with the wire. It's going to beep, okay? I got it off right now. Now if I put the switch on, here on the black wire, and see, it's not even touching. Okay, now take your old work box, okay, that's your remodel box, the one with the little flaps on them, the tabs. Okay, we want to put it against the wall, alright, in a way, because we need to draw this out, and that way we can cut it out, really exact. Okay, and obviously you can't draw through these tabs here, so you're just going to draw across here, and then we'll just connect the dots. There we go. Fits in snug, but not forced, okay? So it doesn't slop around. It means it's going to stay in there really tight and have a lot of strength, okay? Don't force the box in. If there's a piece that's catching, make sure you take a utility knife and just kind of scrape that away a little bit. If you force it in, you're going to end up cracking the sheetrock, and then you're just screwed. Okay? So anyways, now we got to cut some holes on the side here and get the wire run. Okay, so now we got to punch some holes, guys. We're going to need a hole here, here in the middle, and here on this end. So you're like, wait a second, that board just appeared out of nowhere, right? Okay, yeah, I did. I went ahead and slapped that in and tried to save some time. I put these 2x4s here, here, and on the other side as well. So I put the new sheetrock, or the old sheetrock, back in place. I got something to screw to. Okay, now some people say you need to find the center of the stud and then split it, you know, so that half the sheetrock. Okay, but when you're doing a remodel or a patch like this is much easier to scab on. Okay, so some 2x4s here and here and here. Now, when you're cutting through here, you're cutting through kind of blindly. Okay, you don't want to cut any wires like this. Oh, by the way, what is this? I have a 3/4 inch spade bit. You can use, I don't know, 5/8, 3/4, somewhere in there. That's pretty good to run your Romax through. Alright, so stick your hand in, okay, and feel around carefully. Okay, you want to make sure there's no wires. You can also send your cell phone camera in there, possibly take a picture. Careful not to drop it down the hole, because then, wow, yeah, right. Let's go ahead and prep these electrical boxes, okay? We have the two. Alright, we have one of the old work boxes. Alright, they have these tabs down here. They need to be pressed in so the electrical wire can come in. Now the first box we're going to put in, we need 2 notches, okay? One for the wires going, you know, coming through out, and then the other one's going back in across the other side, okay? So we have in and out. Alright, so we're just going to carefully punch that in. And this is an old countertop that's being replaced, by the way. So if I mess up and it scratches the countertop, it's okay because it's getting replaced tomorrow even. Okay? And then our second box just has one set of wires, okay? So let's just bend one back. And there we go. Now let's get some new wire and get it cut and get it ready. Okay, we've got some needle nose pliers with a wire cutter on there. Alright, so I'm going to run this through the hole we just cut. And it should bring us straight through where we can grab it. There we go. Oh, and no, I didn't cut myself today. This is from taking out the tile the other day. Should have been wearing gloves. Yep, should have been. Should have, would have, could have. Okay. Okay, leave that hanging out. Now, some of you are like wondering, well, what size wire do I put back with this? Okay. Most of your houses in the United States, and I'm assuming this is probably pretty standard for most places, are going to either be a 14 gauge wire or a 12 gauge wire. Now, I can't attest for anywhere else, but in the US, in modern years, which would be even in the last 25 years or more, they're pretty much color coded the outside of the Romax. Okay, so this white outside of the Romax is a 14 gauge wire, and the yellow would be a 12 gauge. Okay, the 14 gauge is a little bit smaller, but on lights, that's more than enough power. Okay, more than enough and sufficient for even current codes. And this is going to be, if you need to go buy some, maybe you don't have any wire laying around, this would be a 14-2 plus ground. Okay guys, we've got our first old work box, the one where we put 2 notches in. So I've got 2 wires going through it. Now feed them in, try to feed them in. And you can use a Phillips screwdriver. If you're going to use a drill or an impact, just be careful you don't like crank the crap out of this box. It is only plastic. Alright, now I know, because there's a slight color difference, this one has a bunch of little bends in it. This was our original wire, the one that could have power if the switch gets turned on. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to cut a little bit of this excess off because this is just crazy. Okay. You want to still give yourself enough to work with, so be careful you don't cut off too much right there and just make it harder for yourself later. Now I'm going to just take the new wire I put in there and roll it back in place, because we're not going to mess with that until all the walls are you know, the drywall's fixed and the paint's done and all that jazz. Okay, this is kind of like the last stuff. But in case that light switch gets turned on, I don't want any of these wires doing anything funny. Okay. So even though they're cut off clean and they really shouldn't do anything, even if the switch gets turned on, I'm going to go ahead and cap them, okay, before I roll them back into place. Okay guys, we're almost done. You can see I got an electrical box there and one over there. It's really hard to do it in the camera, everything's like mirrored. Oh, and I apologize for the sniffles, I get that cold and stuff going on, it's that time of year. Let's put that sheetrock back in place, shall we? We know we got our wire running right through there in the middle, so be careful. Actually, it's above middle, so be careful not to, you know, get too close to that. Even though our screws really shouldn't touch it, I'm just going to personally just try to avoid that. Guys, thanks for joining me on this project here today. We took a single center Hollywood strip that had no electrical box on it, and we split it so we put individual light fixtures over each sink. I took you through the steps all the way through. At least I think I did. So I really hope that this helps you with your project. If you liked it, please share it so others can do their own projects like this. Please give this video a thumbs up. Hey, if you wouldn't mind hitting that, slap in that face. You just go to slap it. Slap that silly face up there and subscribe to the channel. It always helps out. Just below that will be a link to my website. I got a bunch of other videos, plus some additional videos for you to watch right there. Don't forget, Amazon links in the description for just about everything I use in this video. Thanks again.